Hey bookworms, welcome back to my channel and to another review. Today I'm going to talk about the book that I've been wanting to read for such a long time. That is the famous spy novel, Tinker Tailor's Soldier Spy by John LaCarre. Now I did watch the movie before reading it. The movie's from 2011, so I knew pretty much how things are going to go, but still I've wanted to read a book forever, and I finally did. The book was written and takes place in 1970s England during the Cold War and centers around the MI6, or the Secret Intelligence Service, basically spies. And our protagonist is a semi-retired agent called George Smiley, who receives information that there might be a Soviet mole in the MI6, and he's tasked with another agent called Peter Gillim to find out if that's really true, and obviously, if it is, who the mole is. As I mentioned, I was really excited to read the book, and I knew a lot about it prior to reading it, even prior to watching the movie, and I knew that this is a slower book. Usually when you hear the word spy novel, you think of James Bond, right? James Bond, who coincidentally also started his life as a book character written by Ian Fleming, who, fun fact, like John LaCarre, they were both MI6 agents in real life. Another fun fact, Ian Fleming also wrote another book who became a famous movie, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So, nice resume. Anyway, you think of actions, cool gadgets, spies telling everyone their names while dressed in the finest clothing, except of course when they're in bed with sexy ladies, you know, stuff like that. But in reality, as far as I know, and in John Le Carre's novels, espionage world doesn't really look like that. It's mostly listening, talking in quiet conversations, reading lots of files, and lots of bureaucracy. And if you're planning on reading this book, be prepared for exactly that. But I do want to start, as usual, with a more general statement, and then I will go more into details. I really wanted to love this book, but the truth is that I had a very difficult time reading it. I hate saying that on books that are so famous and received so many praises, and I wanted to read it so much for years. But the truth is that for the most part, I was either really bored from this book or had a really hard time following it. I said that I've seen the movie before reading this book, so I should have known exactly what to expect, but the truth is that I felt like the movie brought life to an otherwise very dull, grey, and kind of very stereotypically British novel. Most of the book consists of people talking to each other, which is not a bad thing. I mean, hey, I absolutely love classic detective books in which most of the book is, you know, people talking to each other, but there is a way to do that, you know? I felt like in this one, most of the conversations were, to repeat myself, very boring. Only a small part of them actually regarded the plot, and the rest of them, I have no idea. Which brings me to my second point, and this is the fact that the book was very frustrating to read, and I had a very hard time following it for the most part. Have you ever started watching a TV show from the middle, and you kind of understood that these two characters hate each other, and this character is in danger and therefore lying about something, but you had no idea who is after him and what the consequences are? This is exactly how I felt while reading this book, and this is due to the actual language that John Le Carre uses. Now, I have no idea if that's due to this being some sort of an old-timey English slang or what, but throughout the book, there were complete phrases that I had no idea what they actually meant. Here are some examples, and please let me know if you actually understand them. He was stepping wide in the nightclubs. London's playing it long. Here they are, 2 gallantry and 4 campaign. And obviously there are more. If any of you want to enlighten me regarding what these phrases mean and to what sort of a semantic field they belong, please feel free to do that in the comment section. In addition, I felt like the reader was expected to know not only the espionage world lingo, but also how exactly this world operates, which I don't. You keep reading words like lamplighters, babysitters, janitors, mothers. All of them have a totally different meaning under this specific context. Some I managed to understand by myself after a while, but some are not as obvious, and I had to look them up online to find out what he actually means by using them. Now, Tinker Tailor is actually the 5th book where the character of George Smiley appears. The first one is Call for the Dead. Now, I didn't know that at first, but now I assume that this is one of those novels that you have to read the first ones in order to understand this one, which is weird because I always assume that this is a possible standalone, and he does explain who the characters are, so why not do the same with how this world works? Eventually, I felt pretty lost while reading this book, and let me tell you, it didn't help that he had conversation between only men and he kept using the word he. I need a bit more than a pronoun to understand who's talking, John. But I do want to add some positives here, and this is mainly the fact that when I did manage to follow the book, it was so fascinating, so fantastically written. This combination between the mundane, boring English life and the imminent danger of the Soviet Union was so wonderfully articulated. It was amazing. Too bad I only felt that way for about 20% of the book. So unfortunately, this became one of those cases where even though I really appreciate the book and I do want to read more works from the same author, I didn't actually enjoy the reading process. I felt like I had to work way too hard on actually understanding the words in front of me to immerse myself in the world of MI6 espionage and Soviet moles. However, reading the book made me want to watch the movie again, and if you're looking for a warmer recommendation, go watch the movie Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy from 2011. Not only does it manage to make the novel story a bit more coherent, it also have a really wonderful cast. So those were my thoughts on Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy by John LaCarre, and as I'm recording these words, I'm wondering how many comments I'm going to get in the style of "You just didn't get it." If you've read the book and you feel the same way as me, please let me know. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to click like to show your support and also to subscribe to my channel if you dare for more book reviews and other book-related videos. And if you understand one of those phrases that I mentioned before, please don't forget to write down what they actually mean and if they're really, I don't know, an English slang or something that belonged to the espionage world or what. Anyway, thank you again for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.